like Panama City Beach was always for a long time, the party capital of the Gulf, the panhandle there, and everybody, you had Destin and 30A and all these other places. And over the last 5 to 8 years or so, they've been really trying to rebrand and be more of not the spring break party type place, right? And so they really started cracking down on that. So you're really seeing it become just very much an extension of really that entire panhandle area in the Gulf that is just a really good vacation spot, right?
Uh-huh. Yeah, that was one of the things that I think probably was one of the reasons why Panama City Beach wasn't really high on our list right away, is because that was our assumption as well. And we don't want to have a bunch of, people, punching holes in the wall and partying and all that other stuff at our place and everything. That's not the type of place that we wanted to go with, particularly, for our first one. But then as we were down there, kind of learn more about, the semi-recent history of the area and everything, we started to like it more and more. And so, as Angie said, the place we ended up getting, ended up, being in an area that, is not in that area where it used to be real crazy and everything, but, ended up checking a lot of boxes for us. So we were excited about it.
Nice. So what about the process of running numbers, the data behind it? I mean, obviously you go down, you like the area. We're talking about, hey, listen, and I ask this because we naturally select good properties in good areas because of where we want to stay. Angie, you were saying, this is somewhere that I would want to stay. This is somewhere I would enjoy. And so we kind of naturally have this instinctive ability to choose good properties in good areas. But many times we don't instinctively have any clue what kind of revenue potential they actually have versus the purchase price and everything else. So walk me through if and when that part of the conversation came in to making some of these selections.
Yeah, so we had actually modeled out a different purchase in Panama City before we actually went down there, and it modeled out to an okay, type of return. And so, but the property we'd initially looked at didn't have a pool in the backyard, and just a lot of the things that we would have to add in to compete, to be at the upper tier of the properties in the area. We ended up not going forward on that one. We had an offer on another a duplex that we ended up backing out on in Florida. You have 15 days to be able to basically walk away at that point. And so we basically had kind of a hold on another one, decided against that one, and then when we went down there, we started looking at the other the property we ended up getting along with some other ones. But as we kind of looked at some of the potential competition in the area, there weren't a lot of properties that fit that profile. So, we weren't really competing in a large pool of, like homes and things like that. And so that was really appealing to us. And when we kind of modeled it out, we kind of set a target revenue number to make it worthwhile. And kind of, as we kind of, did some of the math and everything, we're like, oh yeah, we think we can hit this. So yeah, it was kind of a journey to kind of go through all of that. The place we ended up buying, probably didn't have as much rigor, but we had done rigor in other areas as well, and kind of modeled it out. So we had kind of a good feel for what it was going to look like when we did end up making the purchase.
Love it. So when you decide to make that offer, tell me a little bit about some of you said like kind of the advantages of not being, the same as everything else. It had some uniqueness to it. What were some of those things that when you're mentioning that you were looking for? We always talk about, right? As a marketer, we want to be marketing and be an offering and be like kind of competing in a category of one. Anytime, as much as we can differentiate from the competition, we try to do. Sometimes we build that in with design, experience. Sometimes that's built in with the property. It sounds like this one had a few of those things maybe built in to the area and the property. So what were some of those?
Yeah, I think just the amount of bedrooms and sleeping space. It has 2 primary suites, one on the first floor and one upstairs, and then additional bedrooms on both levels. So just the size alone and how many we could sleep in there. And then we added more king beds than what they originally had. So that was one thing that kind of set it apart, the private pool. And then it was a newer build. I think it was 3 years old when we bought it. Yeah, so when we were looking at some of the other places and what we would need to do to them to take them to a level where we would be excited to walk in there. these had brand new, beautiful bathrooms. And, you know, so any additions that we made were just design and we didn't have to rehab anything. So that appealed to us as well.
Yeah, and we've got 2 kids who are teenagers now. But you know, one of the lenses that we really looked at was, you know, would it be a good property for you kids their ages, and also would it be a good property when our kids were younger? So like we've traveled with our kids their whole lives, and so you know, in our experience of looking at properties, of looking at how much seating space that you have in common areas, well, if you're going to have a house that can fit 15, 16 people, can the couch sit more than 4 people, right? So like that type of stuff. And so as we kind of looked at the different areas and where people can just be and exist in the property, that was one of the things that we wanted to really focus on. So good living space. The backyard has a lot of room, and we saw some opportunity there. And one of the things that we wanted to do too to differentiate ourselves is build out a nice game room and have some fun space there, again, for older kids to be able to go and hang out and not just have to sit and scroll on their phones in the living room for hours at a time. Right. So it really helped us to kind of put things in perspective when we looked at it from that lens. And this property ended up checking a lot of those boxes for us.
Was it set up as an existing STR already, or was it like, tell me how you bought it, furnished wise, how it was set up, and how many changes you had to make?
It was set up as an STR, so we bought it furnished. I would say the furniture was pretty minimal, and we replaced almost all of it. So it, but there was some stuff there that we were able to use or move around, but most of the big items we did not replace.
all the appliances were new, so we didn't have to replace anything there. But I think we replaced all the beds, the main couch, and outdoor furniture and stuff like that. We ended up doing a PPA through Mike and the Revo team and everything, and so that was a big part of our purchase as well. And one of the big reasons why we wanted to get it done in 2025 as well. So having something that was furnished that we could get on the market right away, was in a rentable spot, even though it wasn't where we wanted it to be, we could at least get it launched right away was a big part of what we wanted to do too. We didn't want to buy anything unfurnished and then have to spend 2 months figuring all that other stuff out, getting it furnished and delivered and everything as well.
So that was part of the buying process, as we were looking for those furnished properties that we could get on the market sooner rather than later.